The person we're going to talk about today was a famous archaeologist. Archaeology is the study of old civilizations, ancient civilizations. This man's name was Howard Carter, and he made one of the greatest discoveries of all time. He is famous for discovering the tomb of one of the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. Carter was born in London, England in 1874. His father was an artist, and he taught the young Carter to draw and paint from an early age. One day his father was painting a portrait for someone, a famous archaeologist who studied ancient Egypt. Seeing this famous archaeologist probably started Carter's interest in Egypt. In 1891, when he was 17 years old, he went to Egypt for the first time, to help in the excavation of some tombs. His job was to use his skills in art and drawing to make a record of everything he saw. On the walls of the tomb, there was lots of writing, lots of paintings, lots of pictures. It was Carter's job to copy those down so that people back in England could see them and study them. But although he began as an artist, he slowly started to get more responsibility, and he eventually became an archaeologist himself. In 1899, he was made the leader of a team. With his team, he worked on a number of excavations, a number of archaeological digs. He discovered a few different tombs, but unfortunately, when they tried to excavate them, they found that all the treasure inside these tombs had been stolen many years before. This is always a big problem in archaeology. Robbers have been to many of the tombs, and all the treasure inside has been stolen. A few years later, Carter got a job with a man called Lord Carnarvon. Carnarvon was a lord, someone very rich, famous, and powerful. He had become interested in archaeology and wanted to pay to do his own excavations. He gave Carter a job, and together they started exploring new places in Egypt to dig. From 1914 onwards, they started digging in the Valley of the Kings, a very famous place in Egypt. Their work was interrupted by World War I, but they started again a few years later. They spent a long time looking, but they couldn't find anything. They looked for years and years, but were still unsuccessful. Eventually, Carnarvon, who had been paying for all the work, decided that enough was enough. He wanted to give up and stop digging. He argued with Carter, who wanted to continue, and eventually Carter persuaded him to pay for one more year. Carnarvon would pay for one more year, and if Carter still couldn't find anything by the end of the year, the digging would have to stop. But the decision to continue for another year was a good one. Only a few weeks later, they discovered something. On the 4th of November 1922, Carter's team found the steps leading down to a tomb. Before opening it, he called Carnarvon and they opened it together. Carter made a small hole in the wall leading to the tomb, and he used the light from a candle to look inside. Carnarvon asked him, "Can you see anything?" And Carter replied with the famous words, "Yes, wonderful things." What they had found was the tomb of a pharaoh called Tutankhamun. It had not been discovered by robbers, and all the treasure was still inside. These were all the things that were left in the tomb after the pharaoh died, or the gifts he was given for his journey into the next life. There was gold and jewelry and perfume and statues. Over the next few months, they slowly studied everything they found in this room. But this was only the first room. After they had finished studying everything here, they finally opened the second room, where the body of the pharaoh was. They found the body, and on the face was a beautiful mask. It was blue and gold and showed the face of the pharaoh. It can be seen today in the museum in Cairo, the capital of Egypt. After the discovery, Carter became famous all over the world. Carnarvon died in Cairo soon after the tomb had been opened. In fact, by 1929, 11 of the people connected to the excavation had died. This caused the newspapers to say there was a curse on the tomb. They said that the curse of the pharaohs would kill anyone who tried to open the tomb. Of course, this probably isn't true, but it helped to add to the mystery and excitement of ancient Egypt.